Any chance of down the road, if there's a new Brother Kane compilation, of including The Drift, Fear of a Clown, This and That, and Rattle My Bones, maybe?
Wow.
I love Rattle My Bones and This and That. I have some bootlegs you guys have done it on.
Wow, man. Yeah, we did. I remember we did those live. Really love those. Of all of our kind of unreleased B-side stuff, that may be my favorite.
I would agree.
And I think that's another testament to the fact that, you know, who we were on that first record, man. We didn't even have time to think about it. It just sort of happened naturally. And I think maybe when it's all said and done, had we sort of stuck with that direction, it might have even made more sense. Because again, it was more of a natural fit for us musically. So I don't know. We'll see, man. Those are good songs. You know, again, man, we were just always trying to make great albums and hopefully in the process of that come up with a couple songs that could be singles. And, you know, being that we were such a radio-based band, we had to have success at radio in order to be able to stay on the road and keep touring. So
yeah. I personally think that Aerosmith would have been a good choice for Whiskey Falls to open. Was anyone that Aerosmith contacted about possibly doing some opening shows?
You know, we had some people in our management that, you know, Steven was aware of the band because he was into Brother Kane. Actually, all those guys were supporters of the band, but I know Steven was aware of what we were doing because my old songwriting partner, Marty Fredrickson,
that's right, works
a lot with Steven. So, you know, I knew that he had heard the stuff, and I think that would be a good fit as well because they're such a kind of a mainstream kind of band. But you know, Whiskey Falls kept its focus firmly planted in country in that format and in trying to tour with those kinds of bands because that's really where those fans are. And had we been able to, you know, ramp that up even bigger, then yeah, I think it would have made sense to maybe try to do some shows with some rock bands like Aerosmith. That would be great.
Definitely. How did you find the overall experience of traveling with the Toughest Cowboy show?
You know, man, it was pretty cool. The whole rodeo thing I did because I've been into that ever since I was a kid. But you know, it was a tough time for the band. I mean, we had put in so much energy trying to find another label to kind of pick up the record and to give us a new home so we could keep doing what we wanted to do. And I mean, I can't speak for the other guys, but I just always look back on that Toughest Cowboy timeline as the period on the calendar where, you know, we were having to take some real hard looks at the reality of our situation. And it was during that time that I got a call from Alice, and he said, "Hey, man, I got a slot open, you know, are you going to be available?" And I said, I think so. I said, because I'm going to have to, I need to feed my family. So the timing of all that couldn't have been better. And since that time, you know, we've written, I think we got about 30 more songs. I mean, we got an amazing batch of new material. And, you know, we're just continuing to look for the right home. And it's tough, you know, in Nashville, man, in country, everything happens in Nashville. And Whiskey Falls isn't in Nashville. It's almost more of an LA-based band because that's where the other guys are from. So if you're going to say emphatically we're not going to play by Nashville's rules, well, you're making it hard on yourself right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So, you know, all I can do is keep my fingers crossed and hope that we can get something going.
Definitely. Will the 2006 Christmas Pudding show with the original Alice Cooper lineup that you were involved in ever be released on DVD or any format?
I don't know. That's a great question. That was certainly an incredible honor for me, and I would definitely be proud to have something like that out there. I don't know that that's really happened before or since. Certainly since Glenn has passed away, that was the only time those guys had performed together like that. So you know, it was such an honor for Alice to ask me, and all those guys were great to work with, and you know, I just tried to stay true to the original parts that Glenn played, and not I didn't want to do my interpretation of it. I wanted to play it just like those records because I love those records as a fan. So great experience.
Very cool. Now, did Chinatown or Headline record any material?
No, we never did. You know, those were just bar bands, cover bands. There was always talk of trying to do some stuff, but I don't know what it's like in other parts of America or even up into Canada, you know, but I mean, in the South, there's just so many opportunities that you can go out and make a living being a cover band. And, that's where I started. And, that was Chinatown was that transition between the Delta Rebels and when I started Brother Kane. So it was just, it was a way to stay out there and keep your chops up and have some fun. But no, those bands never did any original stuff.
Brother Kane were originally a metal band with a different singer called Child. Did the band ever record any material?
Oh yeah, there's a ton of stuff. There's a ton of stuff with the old singer. I say a ton. I mean, there's probably 12, 15 songs out there somewhere. And that original singer, I mean, he had been in a band that had a medium level of success. So I was cool with sort of letting him direct the music, and that stuff was definitely more 80s sounding.
Mm-hmm.
Very, he was really influenced by like David Coverdale and Bon Scott and even Rod Stewart. A lot of all great singers, but there was just a dated quality to those songs, and I think that's why we've never done like updated versions of those, and I'm sure they're floating around out there somewhere.
I'd love to hear them.
Well, I'll have to see if I can hook you up with that. I'll see if I can dig
awesome.
that out. It's probably sitting next to that damn Yankees record.
Of course, always the way it goes. With release finally having your versions of Just Feel Better and Every Day on it, any future plans to release your version of Ghost, I Won't Go Away, or Salvation on Sandhill?
Ghost, I actually considered for putting on release, and I think it would be good for an acoustic record. You know what, Ryan, in a perfect world, I would love to make an acoustic record every year and a half or so now. That's so fulfilling, because I'm always writing, and whether I'm writing for myself or someone else, the way that I write is to at least attempt to write something that I would want to sing myself. And that's something that's a little bit of a challenge when you're in Nashville, because a lot of times guys get together to co-write, and they're just trying to, quote, write a hit or write a song to pitch to somebody. And I'm not saying that I would never do that at all, but it's almost like I need to learn how to do that, because I don't know how. I just know how to express myself.
Mm-hmm.
A lyric that I may want to sing, it may be too interpretive for a country lyric, or it may be too vague, and so I just thought that the acoustic album is a great way for me to sing some of these songs that I'm really proud of. That maybe they would make a country single for somebody else, but now I've got a version that I can listen to and enjoy, and hopefully some other people will dig it as well.
Definitely. I loved your versions of God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen and Let's Make Christmas Merry. Would you do another Christmas song down the road?
Totally, man. I mean, such a good vibe on both of those songs, and particularly on the God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. And I'm sure you picked up on that. That's the same riff in that song that's on the Sammy Hagar song.
Mm-hmm.
And I had come up with that arrangement for God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen right before I wrote with Sammy. And I was at his house, and we were working, and I just started playing that riff because it was still kind of fresh in my mind. And he goes, "Whoa, what is that?" And I said, "Oh, it's this riff. I did this wacky version of a Christmas song." And he got totally excited about it. He goes, "Can we use it?" And I said, "Sure, we can use my riff. Let's use it." So, but that said, yeah, I'm always down with doing, especially a lot of that cool traditional holiday stuff, man. That's a lot of fun to just do a different interpretation of. I love the soulfulness of both of those covers. So I'd be down doing some other of those.
How did Brother Kane hook up with Kenny Aronoff to write Where Was I to Know?
That was a total fluke, man. I wrote with John Shanks, who at the time was still just a growing songwriter. He was starting to produce a few things, but since Wishpool, man, John is like a pop legend. He's produced songs that have gone on to sell millions and millions and millions. He's almost like kind of a Junior Mutt Lange kind of guy. So John had worked with Kenny in Melissa Etheridge's band, and we were writing over a period of like a week, and he said, "Hey man, I got these loops that Kenny gave me, just various drum loops," and he put them on, and the first thing he played was what became the song Where Was I to Know. And when we finished putting the lyric and melody on it, I said, "Man, we got to give Kenny songwriting credit." And I remember John saying, "Wow, that's going to blow his mind, man," because normally, a lot of times you don't get songwriting credit for stuff like that. And I felt like he totally deserved it. I mean, the song would have never happened had we not had that loop to work to.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw Kenny the next year, like out at the NAMM show, and man, he was beaming like a satellite. He was so excited about that. So I get credit for giving Kenny Aronoff his first songwriting credit. He's probably not had another one since then. Maybe his only songwriting credit.
Will the version of Don't Turn Your Back on Me with the three ladies singing from the Brother Kane DVD ever be released?
Oh, man. God, those girls sang the shit out of that. They sounded so good on that recording.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think they're kind of tucked in on the actual album version. You just can't really hear them. Because it was almost a little too Black Crowes sounding, which was fine with me. But I remember that the producer and even the guys in the band, they sort of talked me out of that. We didn't want to get too much in that territory. We wanted to keep it a little more mainstream.
And you can hear it more when you crank it really loud too.
Oh
so.
yeah. But that was one of the first songs that Marty and I ever wrote together.
What a great tune.
So it was a good start to a long relationship, and he's a mega talent.
Think you'll finally get a chance to hit Japan maybe in the new year?
I don't know. I know Alice and the band was just over there in, I think, 2008 when I was still on the road with Whiskey Falls. Yeah. We'll see. We had some inquiries about Slave of the System coming over there.
Oh.
And even Whiskey Falls went over there to do they have a big country festival over there every year, kind of in South Japan. So we'll see, man. I love it over there. That was the only time I've been. I would love to go back and be able to go there more often.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Damon. It was quite the thrill, and I've been excited to do this for such a long time.
My brother, you know more about my songs than I know about. That's great, man.